So about a week ago, my truck started giving me a whole bunch of problems. I was noticing a whole bunch of oil leaking all over the ground. I had this smell of diesel and I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And then I noticed I started leaking diesel fuel. And I was like, this is not great. There was a whole bunch of smoke coming out of the blow-by tube. Here's a little clip of that.
I found the problem. Looks like whatever that is, it's leaking compression. That's not good.
Yeah, I thought my truck was completely screwed, so I was like panicking. I was like, well, how am I going to sell this brick if I've got a blown engine? Turns out it wasn't anything like that. It was something very simple. Turns out that it was just one of these high pressure lines had sprung a leak. But at the time I was thinking, oh boy, here we go, time to do injectors again after only 40,000 miles. Didn't want to do that, so now I'm considering selling the truck. Problem is, it looks like that. So about 6 months ago, I actually tried coming up with a whole bunch of different chemicals to dissolve the Plastidip that's on that truck, and none of them really worked all that well. I think the best one was probably the Goo Gone or the lacquer thinner, but even then, I still had to scrape it away to get rid of it. Well, I did some research into figuring out what was in dip dissolver, and it turns out it's a chemical compound called D-limonene, which happens to be in this. And I got a link for it on Amazon. I'm going to show you just how good this stuff works because I can literally rub this stuff on the Plastidip, and we're talking thick Plastidip, and it just eats it away. So yeah, let me show you. Okay, so this is the stuff right here. We're going to just pop it on here, no cuts, and we're going to just rub it in. And I'm going to show you how this gets all the way down, like it's actually kind of crazy. And mind you, this is like super thick. This Plastidip right here is like way thick, so imagine on some thin stuff how well this stuff's gonna work. And we're gonna let that sit. There we go, let's give it another coat. Oh yeah, look at that, it's coming right up. Yep, look at that. It's literally eating all the way down. Look at that, I'm not even rubbing, like I don't have to pick any of that. It's just rubbing it right off using that chemical. It's a little face, perfect. Look, you can even see on here where it's coming off. Look at that, it's coming right up. You can see it's on there, it's all on this thing right here. Look at that, that's awesome. And you can see that it's coming up not like Plastidip, it's literally dissolving it. That is so awesome how well that works, look at that. It's perfect, so yeah. This is the stuff. If you need it, this stuff seems to work. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this stuff in a spray bottle and I'm gonna try to take all the Plastidip off of this truck. We'll see just how well this stuff works. This is really concentrated, so I might even dilute it a little bit, but we'll see. Let's give it a shot.
So I didn't have enough of this concentrate, so I ended up diluting it to about a 50-50 ratio. So I did like half water, half concentrate, just because I wanted to make sure I had enough to cover the entire truck. I had a lot of Plastidip I needed to remove, and I needed to make sure that I was going to get it all done as quickly as I could. I didn't want to wait another week on Amazon.
Well, while that soaks in, I'm going to go get my pressure washer that I just recently fixed. You know, I don't think I ever showed this thing on cam, but I definitely fixed that thing up like hardcore. Had to rebuild the carb and everything. But yeah, so let me get that thing out of here. That's a big old bitch. Ooh. Hopefully this thing will get that Plastidip off. Sometimes I forget just how many parts I have for the Mustang. Like, I have like all the glass just kind of floating up there along with the bumpers. I got doors floating down here. Like, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, that's a project for a different day.
And for anybody that's wondering, I'm actually working on the Mustang as we speak. It's just the video takes forever to make. I mean, it's been weeks in progress already, and I'm not even close to being done. So bear with me on that one.
Okay, so I would say right now it looks pretty good. The only problem is I noticed that wherever it was on there really thick, it was kind of hard to get. So what we're gonna do is on the next one, I'm gonna do what you're supposed to do. I'm gonna peel away the big chunks, and then I'm gonna spray the D-limonene, I think that's how it's pronounced. And then we're gonna see how it does there. It does really good on the thin stuff. The thick stuff, it's kind of hard because you gotta put a lot on there, you gotta let it sit, and then if it gets wet, it gets diluted. So I'm gonna try to peel the big chunks off, and then we'll spray the stuff and spray it off and see how that does. So let's go try it on the hood.
Yeah, that lasted all of 5 seconds before I decided, screw it, let's just take the pressure washer and go to town. Because rubbing this stuff off by hand will make your thumbs go completely raw. Yeah, it's very annoying to do that. This stuff was really stuck. So the pressure washer worked really well in conjunction with the delemoning. So I have to say it did a really good job.
Okay, so this thing took me way longer than what I was expecting, and I've already went through the whole thing. I've actually had to dilute this quite a bit. It doesn't work as well when you dilute it. So the initial test I did just pure concentrated. This is diluted. It's not working as good, especially on this real thick stuff, because this thick stuff is like having to get through a whole bunch of it. So what I'm doing instead is I'm ripping most of the big chunks off, or just using the pressure washer to get it, and then using this to finish up the small stuff, and it works really well. I mean, I can literally rub it and it'll start taking paint off. Like, look at this. Yeah, if you look there, you'll see that there's actual paint on my finger. So the stuff really does work. It's just this stuff's too thick to actually get through all of it. So let's get rid of the big stuff, and then I'll spray the small stuff and get it all off. It's working good, it's just taking a long time.
And for anybody that's asking, yes, I cleaned up all the Plastidip out of the street. I ended up brooming it all up and sweeping it up, making sure we got it all taken care of, because last thing I want to do is just have this stuff flying around in nature. But I think overall I did a pretty good job removing all the Plastidip. There was only a few spots that I missed, but honestly, most of them I could get with my finger. I think for the most part, the entire body of the truck has all the Plastidip gone. I ran out of the concentrate stuff, so there were a couple spots that I probably could have got if I had more of it. But, you know, we'll get that with some sandpaper later whenever we go to actually repaint this thing. And, you know, I'm probably going to have to remove the bed to get to some of these spots, but, you know, that's a problem for a different day.
Okay, so the camera actually died, so you guys didn't get to see the finished product, but we got it all done. The only thing I didn't finish was the roof, because I ran out of the stuff, and I tried using just the pressure washer, and it just wasn't working. So that stuff actually works pretty good. So as you can see up here, there's a lot of stuff that got missed just because I didn't have any more of the chemical. But, I mean, just the pressure washer alone did this, but it's nowhere near as good as the stuff where I actually had the chemicals. But you can see I still got to get in between here on the bed, so at some point I may have to actually pull the bed off. But yeah, other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. So I guess now the big question is, do we want to do a legit paint job ourselves? Do we want to do a rattle can paint job? Or do we want to try to do our hand at a Mako paint job, or somebody else? I don't know. Put it down in the comments what you guys want to see. Well, anyway, that's all I got for today. I'll be sure to see y'all in the next one, and have a great day.